Why do you think that you're seeing even the possibility of the very young falling into this?
Yeah, of course, we can blame a lot on COVID, right? And there are...
Well, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot there, certainly.
Yes, and there is. And that has totally exploded the issues. But I do think a lot has to do with parenting our kids for independence and telling them that they have to do this stuff on their own. We want our kids to be responsible, but we also want interdependence. We don't want little islands in our home. And I think that has come back to bite us for doing that, because our kids are afraid to admit they need help and to ask for help, and they are not seeing their parents ask for help or admit they need help. We need to be one another's help and one another's helpers, right? We need to serve and ask for help when we need it. There's no shame. In fact, it's a strength. It is a great strength for us to ask for help. And and we can't keep focusing on happiness. I mean, that really is getting in our way, because our kids are feeling all these other emotions, and it's almost like they shouldn't. They should only feel happy.
So is happiness, is that a realistic expectation? I mean, I've heard it said that God's purpose for us is not necessarily for us to be happy, but for us to be holy. And yes, there is a difference, I believe, between happiness and joy. And joy is something that we have. It's part of the fruit of the Spirit. It's something we can possess even in the midst of adverse circumstances. It's not something that's dependent on circumstances. But you talk about the emphasis being placed too much on happiness.
Yeah, I love
a little bit deeper. Yeah,
I love C.S. Lewis's quote where he says that joy is the serious business of heaven. I love that. So there's nothing wrong with happiness. Happiness is great. It's just like we love dessert, but we don't want to eat dessert 24/7, right? We need other stuff in there as well. And so if you look at happiness like dessert, if you only ate dessert, you'd get sick. And the same with happiness. We can't be just stuck on that. We need to unstick from that. And yes, happiness is awesome, and nobody would say otherwise. We like that. But we need the mixture. We need to be able to go through life where we have opportunities to be brave because we're afraid, where we have opportunities to show empathy and compassion because we know what it feels like to feel sad. So those are things that we need to allow our kiddos to experience as well, and stop protecting them and walk, rather than either dismiss like I did, but to walk through side by side and to be there in an interdependent way with our kids. I think that's critical, because and for them to also know to rely upon the Lord and that dependence on God, because we are not always going to be with our kids. And they need to know that God is always with them, no matter what.
Well, you have written 6 books. 3 of them, as I mentioned earlier, have the word messy in them. The most recent is called Messy Hope. It's now available as we're talking here at the CPE Fall Show for pre-order, and we'll give a website address. But when you talk about the word messy, obviously that's something that you have used in several of your titles. Then you combine that word with the word hope. It almost seems like a paradox, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So what's up with that?
It's true, because here's the thing, Bob. When we talk about hope, you have to talk about hard things. Hope isn't born out of no struggle. Hope is birthed and hope is experienced right in the middle of the mess. And that is true hope. True hope happens in the mess.